Alright people, do you want to know what really grinds my gears? Do you want to know what really pisses me off these days? Is that I go online, right, and then I see these people, and then I just see these basement dwellers and just these fat slobs just online, just gatekeeping, white knighting, and just defending the hell out of corporations these days, and much less video game studios that clearly just don't give a fuck about their consumers or their customers to begin with. I swear to God, bro, these companies will do the most grimy, the most out-of-pocket stuff that you will ever see in your lifetime behind closed doors and when it comes out to light. But yet these people who white knight and just defend these game companies and these companies in general, right? They will come up with the most inspirational speech as to why they are still to be seen in a good light and they are the best human beings on earth. Now, I am saying all that in correlation to today's video because I'm specifically talking to Ubisoft's bitch ass in this video because they genuinely think it's okay to just snatch and pull games away from you at any given time because they don't feel like sustaining servers for always online games that they put out more than 10 years ago and sold them for $60. Rockstar, Activision, EA, you people are going to be getting a pass from me today because I'm specifically talking to Ubisoft in this one. Yes, the same exact people that downgraded the hell out of the first Watch Dogs game after presenting it in its full glory on the E3 stage, and then when people got the final game, even on the PS4 and Xbox One back in the day, it was so downgraded that people almost sued them for false advertising. Yeah, that Ubisoft. Oh, and let's also not forget when Ubisoft said on an investor call or behind the scenes or something, and then it got leaked to the public, where the owner or the CEO of Ubisoft said that people should feel comfortable not owning their games.
This is the clearest video I've ever seen. This is the most HD shit ever. This is 4K. How did they get you in 4K?
That ain't me.
While at the same time not only having the audacity but the balls to outright say to people with a straight face that Skull and Bones, which is pretty much an Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag ripoff, but instead of playing as a pirate, you're playing as a ship for whatever which reason. I don't know who in their right mind thought that was a good idea. Came out and said that Skull and Bones is a quadruple A game.
Huh?
And now they're just outright stealing your games and erasing them from your libraries on Steam and on the Ubisoft launcher because they don't feel like keeping up the servers for a more than decade-old game when people spend more than $60 on your games over a decade ago. Now, if you may or may not have heard the news, like Ubisoft not only shut down the servers for the Crew 1, which was also released more than 10 years ago and was sold for $60, might I add. I also have to throw that in there for this video because that part is extremely important. And not only did they do that, right, but they also delisted the game off of Steam and the Ubisoft launcher. And I heard reports on some Ordinary Gamers comment section on this video that was inspired to make this video that they also erased the game from people's libraries too. So basically what that means is that the people that purchased this game more than a decade ago when it first released, and it was a $60 full price title, might I add, I'm emphasizing that point a lot here in this video for a very good reason. That means that your purchase that you made that entire decade ago, that means that your purchase is null and void as of today, and matter of fact, as of March 31st, 2024. Ubisoft, what the actual fuck do you people think you're doing? Are you people trying to get sued into the ground? Are you people trying to tarnish your reputation even further than what you're currently doing with what you've been doing in the past 3 or 4 years? Because the fact that you people can sit here with a straight face and tell us that you can pull a game from us at any given time because you people are too lazy, too cheap, and too fucking stupid to even implement an offline patch for a decade-year-old game so people can play them and just experience a game regardless of how long ago it released. And instead of doing all of that, you decide to take it from them instead so the people can buy the newest sequels to a game that you can't even buy anymore, and so that you can get them to get more DLCs, more microtransactions out of them, and then yoink that game 15 years down the line when you decide to stop having the servers up for those games. Like, bro, this is how bad gaming is getting, man. And I've been trying to tell y'all and everybody else for like the past 5 years that it's just getting worse and worse. Yet people will sit here and call me crazy that I'm blowing pot, even though sometimes I do, but I don't do it as much as Shaggy does in a van with a Great Dane. But regardless, people will sit here and tell me with a straight face that I'm crazy and this, that, and the third because I'm calling this stuff out. But then as soon as it gets worse and worse and worse, people start to complain and then notice that I was actually speaking the truth the whole time. And the part that pisses me off, right, the most, right, was that I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit of a story, right? So personally, I have never played the original Crew. That's why I'm pissed off, right? Because I actually made plans to play the original Crew, but instead of doing that, I now have to look up YouTube videos and I have to look it up on other people's channels because I never played it, because back in the day I couldn't afford a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, preferably a PlayStation 4 because Xbox is trash. That's just me. But at the end of the day, I could not buy this game back then because we were poor. I still had a PS3 back in the day and I could not get a PS4 until I think Christmas of 2015, where I got Grand Theft Auto 5 back when it was truly expanded and enhanced, along with Black Ops 3, along with Watch Dogs 2, and all those other games that released during that time frame. But then I also bought the Crew 2 at the time. Now the Crew 2 to me is objectively better than the Crew 1 because not only do they have a lot more cars, but it has a slightly better story than the first Crew. Now with the Crew 1, now the main thing about the Crew is that it's an always online game. For whatever which reason, I don't know who decided to come up with this idea, but someone in their incoherent mind thought that it would be a brilliant idea to have a single player game always be online. But if you look at the Crew 1 and the gameplay from that game, you'll see that most of the time it's not a cooperative game. You're not playing against other players in that game. It's a single player racing game for the most part with an always online internet connection. So the races that you participate in and the campaign that is in that game, you're mostly playing against AI. So my question is, why is it so hard for Ubisoft to implement an always offline patch or offline patch or offline mode in general for the first Crew so people can go back and play those games whenever they feel like it, so when they have to shut down the servers because they're too cheap to keep these servers up for the remaining people that want to go back and play this game, no, they don't want to do that, and they don't want to put in an offline mode. And instead of doing that and coming up with the most simple solution of all time, they decide to not only take your money but run off with it along with the product that you paid for. This don't make any damn sense at all, man. Not only does that not make sense, but that's just straight up fucked up. And this is why personally I have been preaching that do not buy games digitally, because when it gets to the point where all these games are always online, they can take the games away from you because they don't want to keep these servers up. This is why I always tell people, if you're gonna get a console, get the disc version, so that way if the game is garbage, you can take the game back to the store that you paid for with the receipt in your hand and get your money back. That's also why I say, when you want to buy a game, like, oh, you can always sell the games that you paid for if you don't want them anymore or you need some money in your pocket.
Derek's a little pissed at me right now because I sold a bunch of his Call of Duty games for some beer money. Goddamn kids these days. You take away their Call of Duty and it's like taking away a needle from a smackhead.
And now I'm gonna break this down just a little bit for my basketball people out there, my basketball people viewers out there that also came from my NBA 2K days. But basically how I can explain this to the best of my ability is, basically to me this is nothing brand new to me. It's not anything brand new because, as you guys know, I came from the NBA 2K community a long time ago. Like, my channel, after my Midnight Club channel phase, it slowly but surely became an NBA 2K channel all those years ago. And the main reason why I griped and I pretty much retired from NBA 2K was because, number one, every single NBA 2K game is a $70 full price AAA game, but yet they shut down the servers to that game every 2 years. So for example, the last good NBA 2K game in question, at least to my basic knowledge, was NBA 2K16 or NBA 2K17. But for this example, we're just going to use NBA 2K17. So basically, if I buy NBA 2K17, which is what I did back in the day, and 2 years later when NBA 2K19 comes out, they keep the servers for NBA 2K17 and 18 running while NBA 2K19 is released, right? But then after New Year's of that year, which was 2019, they shut down the servers for NBA 2K17, meaning that the online game and for the most part the campaign is pretty much null and void after that point. You can't play the online mode or the My Park for NBA 2K17. So that means if you're like me, like when you actually spend money on your My Player and you got them to an 88 overall or 89 overall, and then you grinded your character out to a 95, 96, 97, 98, whatever the case may be, and grinded to legend status like All-Star, Pro, or whatever the case may be for the My Park online mode, that means all your time, all your money, and all your efforts is all down the drain, and it's null and void after that. So there's really no real incentive to be playing NBA 2K, especially nowadays, if it's not free to play and you can't go back to your online mode in the other 2K games and play with the My Player that you spent hours grinding your badges for and grinding your career mode for. It was one thing to already do that back in the day, and they're still doing it to this day, but now it's a completely other thing that they completely shut down and erase games that you paid for more than a decade ago, and they take it away from you at any given time just because they say so. And then want to run around and say buying isn't owning. Well, in that case, if buying isn't owning, then pirating games or pirating anything in general isn't stealing. You can call me Foxy the Pirate with the way I be pirating things these days. Even back in the day when you remember back in the day when they were really driving home the fact that pirating things is worse than I don't know, terrorism or like I don't know, robbing a bank. Like you would see those infomercials and those like warnings in the theaters everywhere back in the 2000s and the 2010s. And even before the streaming phase in the music industry went about, you had to pay 99 cents per song on an album, which was ridiculous, bro. It was just absolutely ridiculous. And then they were wondering why people were pirating songs off the internet, not supporting the artists that put out these songs to begin with. If it wasn't on YouTube, I went straight to Napster.com and I downloaded the hell out of them songs back in the day. Bro, I downloaded so much music back in them days, I guarantee you that Tupac Shakur's estate and Suge Knight is still looking for a kid in a Derrick Rose jersey with glasses to shake down and serve a subpoena to. And hell, even when I was getting my YouTube channel off the ground back in them days in like 2016, 2017, 2018, like bro, I could not afford like things like Sony Vegas or Adobe Flash or Adobe Photoshop. So you want to know what I did? I downloaded a crack file for those applications and I still use them to this day. The only reason that I even upgraded from Sony Vegas 15 to 18 was because I needed some more handling software and a better application to use, but I don't want to spend $120 per application to be editing a thumbnail or editing a video. Because why should I support a company that want to nickel and dime you at any cost that they're given, and then they want to paywall basic features in Adobe Photoshop and Sony Vegas when they come out with a new update or a new Sony Vegas or Photoshop, it's nothing new and they only have like 1 or 2 features but still want $20 more than what you paid for. And then have the nerve to have anti-pirating software in the shit, even though they know damn well that people on Reddit can easily jailbreak it and bypass it without fail every single time. Bro, I feel like I'm in Cyberpunk 2077, and instead of everybody hating corpos, they are absolutely in love with them and will sell their kidneys and auction their family members off in the name of those companies. But no, these companies constantly want to step on toes. They always want to break boundaries. They always want to blatantly disrespect their fan base and their customers at the same time. Take your money and they want to take the product that you bought with them. Like bro, seriously, on the real, y'all remember when back like 3 or 4 years ago when the GTA Defective trilogy came out, right? And motherfucking Rockstar and Take-Two was sending secret agents. They literally sent secret agents, Take-Two agents, to motherfuckers' houses to serve them cease and desist papers because they were making mods that was better than the trilogy.
You can't even respect us enough to give us updates and release your games on time. And then you release the games to us that we paid $60 for a single player game, mind you, but we need to be connected online to use a Rockstar launcher to play them, so you can literally pull the games from us at any given time. I don't see a Take-Two private investigator coming to my house and pulling my PS2 copy of San Andreas. That's mine, bro. I paid for that.
Now it comes to nobody's surprise that I also believe in having physical media and believing that if you buy a game, regardless of what it is, regardless of how much you paid for it, regardless of how long ago it came out, then you should own it forever until you decide to sell it. Now, for example, if I decide to go, I don't know, on eBay or something, right? And I decide, even though I already have these games that I already have in my hands right now, if I decide to go and buy Midnight Club 2, Midnight Club 3, Need for Speed Underground, Need for Speed Underground 2, then that means that I should have these games for the end of time until I decide to get rid of them. But that's what Ubisoft is doing right now. That's literally what Ubisoft is doing right now. They literally pulled the game from everybody around the world and just gave everybody that purchased it a massive middle finger, and basically also said fuck you to everybody who actually wanted to go back and play the game to begin with. But it's like, bro, I don't see a Take-Two agent coming into my house without a warrant, might I add, and snatching my copy of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix and Midnight Club Los Angeles. Like, bro, that's mine. I paid money for that. That's mine.
Do you understand what the word mine?
Let's go.
I ain't talking about a goddamn mining for coal. I'm talking about mine, belonging to me.
Take my copy of Midnight Club 2 or Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, and it's gonna be stab, stab, stabby.
Get him, Smoke. Get that shit now. Get him. What you talking about? Yeah, motherfucker, Big Smoke. Remember that name.
And even though that I have a $2,500 gaming computer system right here that I can literally play any game that I want to that came out at any given point, right? And I can also emulate any game regardless from what generation it was. Still, I have a PlayStation 2 right here so I can play my original copies of these games that I just talked about at any point, because at the end of the day, I paid for these games. I paid money for these games. And yes, I'm well aware that people out there is actually going to make a mod or a client so that people can play the Crew 1 offline the way it's supposed to be played, but that's not the point that I'm trying to make. This is absolutely goddamn embarrassing, and it's absolutely goddamn fucking disgusting. It's mischievous, deceitful, chicanerous, and deplorable all at the same time. Moral of this story, fuck Ubisoft. Ever since Watch Dogs 2, they just completely fell off the grip. Like, honest to God, the last real Ubisoft title to me, or the last relevant one in my eyes, was Watch Dogs 2 until Ubisoft went and made Tom Clancy's The Division or Rainbow Six or whatever the hell it is, and they decided to turn it into a hero shooter just to sell skins. Just for the simple fact that every other person that has a shooter game wants to do it and wants to make money hand over fist with microtransactions. Planning on playing a damn decade-old game only to realize I can't even play it now because of them bitch-ass niggas. I'm turning this off now. I'm done. I'm absolutely done with Ubisoft. I'm done.